Sunrise on the rocks is always special to a fisherman. It signals the start of what could be the best or the worst day's fishing you've ever had. It's a great time to throw lures around. And for some, a time to get your knots ready just in case that big one takes a fancy to your bait. While I baited up and cast out a slimy, Grantley decided to put out a 1 kilo squid. Even the cameraman had caught big fish fever. This is what is commonly called a cube slimy, and if the heavyweights move in, even the tailor that did this will become just another bait fish. On calm, sunny days, game fish feed deeper in the water, and a bait cast out onto the bottom using a longer rod can be the way to go. No sooner had the bait landed and I was into a good fish. Back in the 70s, during the high-speed spinning craze, everyone used long rods like this. They sure make for exciting fishing. Rock fishermen have selective memories and forget all about the bad days. When they think about a day on the rocks, they think about a day like this. With only a light gaff shot, this cobia was in perfect condition for a tag release. To walk to the water's edge and throw back a 20 kilo fish, a fish I've spent years of my life chasing unsuccessfully, almost didn't make sense. But boy, it made me feel good afterwards. Of course, I wasn't the only fisherman to get a buzz from releasing a big cobia. Things had been pretty hectic, but still not fast enough for Grantley, so he took another break from the camera to hang over some burley and hopefully speed things up a bit. Here we were, only 2.5 hours from Sydney, 200 metres from a popular swimming beach, and we had 3 massive sharks in the 300 to 400 kilo size range feeding right at our feet. Talk about cueing your props. This has to be some of the most chilling inshore shark footage ever.
Oh yeah!
One thing was for sure, no one was going to drown if they fell in today. Bags not being the gaff man on the next hookup. With images of huge sharks replaying in my mind, it took a screaming reel to snap me out of it. I was losing line so quickly I couldn't afford time to unclip the safety rope before striking. Gee, I hope one of those massive Noahs isn't on the other end. The battle raged for over an hour, and the whole time I kept telling myself, whatever you do, don't slip in. The way this fish was fighting, I was confident it was a big cobia, which was a comforting thought as sharks and cobia usually get along pretty well. Surely rock fishing can't get any better than this. Another Australian record, only this time for yours truly. Ever seen a 6'7" Irishman in the Aussie bush with a 5-foot fish on his back? Well, you have now. I wanted this superb table fish officially weighed and iced down as soon as possible, and a few flies and fish slime weren't about to stop me. When it comes to fishing, just when you think you've got it all worked out, all the rules can go out the window. For most of the first hour of this fight, local game boat skipper Brent Harding had over 700 metres of 6-kilo line in the water, connected to a fish of world record proportions. How many boats went over or under his line, he's still not sure, but for a while things weren't looking good. Some boats cared enough to go around his line. Others just went over his line, unaware or uninterested in what was going on. Fighting a fish for almost 2 hours can be real hard work, and it's your right arm that bears most of the strain. One boat even obeyed the waving madman on the rocks and came in close enough to pass under his line. Just maybe Brent might get this fish after all. He battled the monster to within 60 metres of the rocks and out of boat danger, where he finally got a positive ID. It was a huge cobia, well in excess of 40 kilos, and if landed, a definite world record. There's not much Brent hasn't seen or done in the heady world of game fishing, but what was going to happen next rocked even him to the core. With just minutes left in the fight, out of nowhere, under the surface, a huge shark engulfs the cobia.
That is a big shark.
How much carb you got left?
None.
The rest is now history, and although candid, I think Brent's words say it all better than mine. Watching an attack like this is a chilling experience. It's impossible to keep out thoughts of what might happen to a human swimming in these waters. Over the time we were here, we'd seen people happily snorkelling at our feet where the tiger sharks had been, and jet skiers and windsurfers where this latest attack occurred.
Big cove, real big cove. How big is it? Oh, that's a big fish. Help, mate. Got a gap, you don't want to go in. It's a shark. Over that, Brent.
The massive cobia's head weighed over 12 kilos. The whole fish would have weighed in excess of 45 kilos, an almost certain world record.
That's good.
The greatest game fishermen are the ones who best understand and fit in with the feeding cycles of the ocean, and Brent knows that in nature nothing is wasted. Other small fish will now feed off the giant cobia's head. When the ocean tells you your stay is over, you'd better believe it. You can fight the elements all you like, but you'll never win. The Cobiathon had come to an end, and it was time to push further north and continue the journey we'd started 400 kilometres ago at Jervis Bay. On this leg of the trip, our targets were northern bluefin tuna.
Water's coming under the sides of the doors at the moment.
To a rock fisherman, being on the rocks at sunrise is everything.
Johnny's in the back hiding. Okay, we've got all the easy stuff out the way, now we get serious. Here we go, now we're getting serious. Trying my hardest to hold this camera still. Still slippery. Whoa. Grant's doing his best to roll the car at present.
You do everything you have to get there on time. The rewards for making the effort to get away from it all and go fishing don't just come in the form of big fish. On days like this, catching a fish is just the icing on the cake. Up here, I always spend first light throwing a big pencil popper around. I don't generally catch much, but it's my way of tuning into the sea conditions and definitely the best seat in the house to watch the sunrise. When you put your first bait out and a school of mullet this size surrounds your float, it's like putting up a neon sign saying "Eat me," and that's exactly what happened. After one screaming hit and run, I figured I'd hook my first tuna of the trip. By tuna standards, it wasn't a big fish, but boy did it pull. I can't wait to hook a big one. In my mind, North Coast land-based game is all about northern bluefin tuna. At any size, they're a top sporting fish. The whole situation was a bait fish pressure cooker, and with migrating mullet everywhere, the tuna were never far away. Now this was the size of fish we came here to catch. Using an arcing fighting style, bluefin can tie you up in knots for hours.
Northern bluefin tuna. Around 30 pounds.
The temptation to go for an early gaff shot is always strong, but the last thing you want next to the rocks is a big tuna that's still green.
Here he comes. Up. Yep. Good shot.
In or out of the water, tuna are a spectacular looking fish and one of land-based game's biggest challenges.
About 15 to 17 kilos. Even my hand can fit down its throat. If this was a Spanish mackerel, I would not be doing this. It was a better hookup than I thought. I think we've got it. And there she blows. This is my pet hook. It's caught 3 bluefin so far.
Grantley's a fisherman first and cameraman second, and before the end of our stay, he did manage to get into the action. And I got my turn on the camera. All who participate in land-based game fishing know that the risks are great, but they also realise that this adventure can only happen during a season of one's life. As time moves on, like so many of the land-based game fishermen of the past, the unforgivingness of the rocks and the constraints of age and lifestyle may one day force us to look for fishing challenges in other areas. And so was the closing chapter on our journey. As we walked out for the last time, apart from wondering what was dribbling down our backs, it was a time for reflection. Within a few weeks, the cold currents of winter will start to arrive, and the game fish will move further north until the currents bring them back next summer. All that is left now is to start planning for the next season, spending those quieter moments thinking back on the huge fish and sharks we'd seen in the season just past. The more land-based game seasons you fish, the more you'll learn to appreciate the sights, smells, and even the physical hardship of a day spent chasing game fish from the rocks. Winter can be a very long wait, but the more winters you wait through, the more you appreciate the simple things in the season ahead. By way of postscript to this program, while we were putting it together, two mates, Theo and Mike, were at Jervis Bay pulling marlin like these onto the rocks. Those fish are out there, we just haven't learnt yet how to read all the signs, but have no doubt, I'll keep trying.